Yo, Tyrone,
Oh, I
welcome to the
can't hear you.
Multiverse. You can't hear me? Where you at? Can anyone else hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Tyrone says he can't
Hey,
hear me.
Dave, I can't hear you for
You
some
can't hear
reason.
me? Can anyone hear
I
me?
heard you before.
I don't know. We're
Let me see.
starting
Let me
off.
go.
Chat, let me
Test.
know. Who can you guys hear? Can you hear me or can you hear Tyrone?
Yo, we can hear each other. I can hear us on the phone, but this is so weird. We can't.
Hey, Rue, can you hear me? Can you hear Tyrone? Because I can
They can hear both
of
of us. Hold on, I'm gonna.
Weird. I can hear you, dog. Let me try something here. Let me try something.
Hold on, let me change some audio stuff.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me? I can hear.
Man, I don't know what happened, bro. What happened, man?
I don't know.
It was perfect right before it started. And
I don't know what the hell happened, but Rubate says he can hear both of us, so it's all good.
Yeah. That's what they were saying. They said they could hear both of us. I went to my phone to check what was going on. I thought it was my side, but it was, hey, one of them glitches, man. What's going on with you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm like feeling it today. Rubate goes LOL again. I was like, yeah, I was kind of feeling it today. Been feeling it all week. I got a lot to talk about. So we went live earlier today at 1 o'clock, actually more like 1:30 with Ashish Rastogi, our homie from Arizona, and as well as Kieran, I've been saying it wrong, of Welcome to the Abyss. We were going to talk about pyramids, but then we just talked about megalithic ancient Thailand the whole time. You're having Ashish on to talk about Thailand on Saturday, aren't you?
Yep. We're having a discussion on Saturday.
Nice. Ashish is like one of the, be prepared for 2 hours, my man, because he's got a lot to say and a lot of pictures. I don't even think he showed me half the shit he was doing. He had. So, yeah. Hey, it's August 14th, 2025, 7 p.m. Eastern, 7:03 Eastern in the Multiverse. We're live for the second time today. We hit a first level. We hit a milestone, first level of monetization on YouTube. So now everyone has access to super chats. So you can donate to the Multiverse by putting $1 in the super chat or 1 cent or $100 or whatever you want. But honest to goodness, we just appreciate likes, subscribes, sharing our stuff. We appreciate all that. And anything you put in a super chat's going directly into keeping this boat floating for a second year, because we're going on 1 month away from doing this for a whole year. And it's been an awesome ride. Got Tyrone tonight of Rebirth of the Word. He actually is the record holder for most appearances on Mike and Dave's Multiverse. Tyrone, tell the people where they can find you and what you do.
So everything you can find about me is on my website, rebirthofthword.com. I just basically write articles on things that I find interesting from all types of history. I also wrote a book, Journey Through the Origins of History, that went bestseller on there. I just love history, everything about it. I like to be boots on ground, going to these places, looking at them, getting a touch, feel, smell, of them, and, the visual aspect. And, it's pretty interesting because, ever since I was a little kid, I loved history. That was the only class I liked when I was in school.
Yeah, me too, man. I had no time for school. Like, I was smart. I like to read books and stuff, but like in school, I was just trying to get out and like play sports and chase girls and that kind of thing. I didn't want to be boxed up in a school, but history I've been into myself since I was a kid. I'd sneak out in the middle of the night and watch ancient history documentaries and stuff on TV in the living room. And, I've been following this whole thing for a long time. Today we talked a lot about how a lot of these ancient sites, what we were told is true about them isn't necessarily true. And we talked a lot about how a lot of these sites are more connected than we realize all across the world, mythologically, technologically, spiritually. It was a really fun conversation. And I like what you said about boots on the ground, because Tyrone and I went on a little field trip. Tyrone lives in Savannah, near Savannah, and I live near Atlanta. So since we're both in Georgia, we're going to start taking more of these field trips. And we took one. That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, bro, that was fun too.
It was, but it doesn't feel like it feels like 3 days ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it do. It don't feel like it was yesterday.
No, it doesn't. That's weird. I just realized that. So we both left super early to beat the traffic, and we met at two effigy sites that we're going to get into in Georgia. And then I also went on a little trip myself to a stone wall in North Georgia. Did a little hiking, checked out the mysterious stone wall. So we'll get to that. But I wanted to mention Tyrone is one of the hardest working guys in the business. You're going to find him on all kinds of different podcasts, and he does his own podcast as well. But he's been on the Occult Rejects podcast a bunch of times lately. I did an appearance on Occult Rejects with Tyrone. I was talking about 3-Eye Atlas, the new interstellar object. But Tyrone was there for their conversation with Danny Hillman Nadawajaja. I think I'm saying that right. How was that? I was talking to Danny because we met him at Cosmic Summit. Remember we?
Yeah. We had a moment. Yeah, we
had a moment with Danny at Cosmic Summit. We I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. We had a moment. That's it.
Yeah, that's the only way we could put it. Yeah, it was definitely fun. His presentation is awesome. Like I was telling you, when we went to Cosmic Summit, I started to realize that PowerPoint presentations are really big in the civilian world. Me and you both, we spent time in the military. You know how it is with PowerPoint presentations. They want you to put everything in PowerPoint. So when I started this, I wanted to stay away from that. And I tried to do what I could do based off of, just what I know how to do things on. And then when we went to Cosmic Summit, I started noticing about those presentations. So when he presented what his level 1s and 2s and all this stuff, and you'll understand what I'm saying when you watch it, because you have to watch it for yourself to get an idea. The visual aspect of it was enlightening, basically. And I did ask him 2 questions, and you'll get answers for them. One of them is, you probably already know, what does he consider a civilization? And then the second one is did they find any settlements around the area? Like,
can you hear me right now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, good. I just put my shit back in because it was better. It's better that way. It seems to be working now. Yeah. We talked to him too, but it was mostly about Cosmic Summit. He did a little presentation about Gunung Padang, but there's 5 levels, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Something like that, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and watch. I do want to watch it again, because there's so much information packed in that video that he was sharing. Mm-hmm. That I have a whole bunch of notes. You already know I already keep notes on it. But yeah, there's different levels on there, like you were saying. And each level, he has his own idea of how that level was created and what's there. And it's very interesting. I highly recommend watching it. It's on the Occult Rejects on YouTube. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, we're doing an episode with him soon. Him and it's coming out. It's not recorded yet, but it's coming out September 5th with him and Megan. Did you meet Megan, his assistant that was like there at Cosmic Summit?
Probably did, just don't remember.
Young brunette, very friendly and nice.
I probably did. I just don't remember.
Anyway, she's coming on the show too, because she's like raising money or something to do some kind of satellite scanning of the site. So
yeah, they're going to do LiDAR. Yeah, he talked about LiDAR scanning and all that other stuff too. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what he said. He said he's going to get that together. There was a couple of questions in there that a lot of people asked him that he answered pretty well, and being honest and stuff. And I did bring up I can't remember that show with Graham Hancock. Was it Ancient Apocalypse or something like
Yes,
that?
Ancient Apocalypse.
I
Yeah.
think that was like one of the first episodes, if I'm
Yes,
not
it was. It
mistaken,
was
the
the
first
first
one.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't the first one. So that's what actually got me interested in it. I didn't really know anything else before, and that's why I always say, you know, you mentioned, you know, how you was reading books and stuff like that. I didn't start reading books until after I got out the military. I used to just watch documentaries because I felt like that was the easiest way to get the answers. But then I felt like I had to actually read some of these people's books just to see what they put inside their books. So yeah, I think his presentation was awesome. Was definitely awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. He's coming back on my show too. The thing with Danny is if you're going to be watching, you really got to be watching. You can't be doing something else because he does have a strong accent. His English is fluent, but he has a strong accent. So you really got to be paying attention. But he is like the guy on Gunung Padang. I first heard about Gunung Padang like in like 2015 or something, maybe 2016, and it was hard to tell what was real about the site because it was mostly you're getting it like on goofy like Facebook posts. It's hard to tell what was true, or you're clickbaity articles and stuff like that, and then like mainstream narrative was that it was BS, but this site is not BS. Danny Hillman Nadawajaja is a real scientist. I forget his exact discipline. If I had Brittany here, Brittany's on vacation, so and Mike's in school, so that's why it's just me tonight. But if I had Brittany here, I'd have her look it up. But he's a real researched scientist and expert in this site, Gunung Padang. So super pumped about that. There's Shaman. He said, "Hope y'all had a nice adventure today." Actually, homie, that was yesterday, and it feels like 3 days ago. But thanks for having me in the chat, my friend. He commented that on yours, so we're paired. Okay. Stig Hansen did that for me one time too. So if you're watching from Tyrone's channel, this is Mike and Dave's Multiverse. Just Dave here tonight. Yeah, we do this every Thursday night, and we put out interviews every Friday. Also, I just want to say we've got a book of the month that we post on all of our social media. Mr. Jason Quit. Have you talked to this dude?
No, I told him I would like to. He said, yeah, after I told him I want to do it after I read his book. I don't want to do it before. You know how I am. I like to, if I got an author that I can talk to, I'd rather read their book.
I already read this. I should have brought it to you. Next time we go on a field trip, I'll bring it to you, unless you just want to buy it for your library. But it's an excellent book. Jason was born with sort of the affliction, for lack of a better word, of experiencing long, prolonged sleep paralysis. Like every single night, he'd be stuck in sleep paralysis for hours. And so he just kind of learned how to use that space to quote unquote astral project, project his consciousness forward and backward in time, different dimensions. He can according to him and his experiences, he can reach DMT type states and stuff like that. But he's done a tremendous, and when I say tremendous, I mean a tremendous amount of meditation and Asian practices like Qigong and Tai Chi to harness this ability. So he basically turned an affliction into an incredible ability. And so this is the book, Astral Experiences. On our X and on our Facebook, you can find the link. You can also find it in the chat. That help you support the show. And we do a book of the month once a month. Tyrone's Journey Through the Origins of History was our first book of the month, I think. It was. It was our first book of the month. So you can probably still use that link too. But anyway, we do a book of the month. And so I just wanted to shout that out. The next thing I wanted to shout out, had you heard of this yet, Tyrone, this Quest for Ancient Civilizations conference right here? Quest for Ancient
I just seen that yesterday.
Yeah, because they just dropped this yesterday. Wandering Wolf, Michael Collins gave me the heads up on this a couple weeks ago, but I had no idea where it was going to be or when. And looks like it's December 5th to December 7th, 2025 in Scottsdale, Arizona. Got some heavy hitters in this lineup, headlined by Jimmy Corsetti and AJ from the Y-Files. I don't even think AJ does this kind of stuff. So that's kind of big. It's kind of big news. Michael Collins, Wandering Wolf, of course, is going to be there. Dan D. Dunker, Michael Button, whom we have an interview with dropping next Friday. And have you seen any of his shit, Jason or Tyrone?
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, he's all over YouTube. Got some veterans of Ancient Aliens in the lineup. David H. Childress and William Henry. J.J. Ainsworth, Hugh Newman. I don't know who this Oana Giselle is. Do you know her? Quest for Ancient Stones and Skies. Never heard of her. Do you know Will Brown? Incredible History.
Sounds familiar. Yeah, sounds familiar.
I don't know his channel either, but Cody was telling me about it, and so I'm going to dig into that as well. Hopefully, and here's the thing, Tyrone, we're hopefully going to be able to interview some of these people. If I could interview all of them, I would be like really excited. But even just a couple of them, because we've already interviewed Michael Collins and Michael Button. Man, Jimmy, if you're watching, dog, I'd love to talk to you about this. About this event.
Having all the veterans up there to talk. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah. I always wanted to talk to Jimmy. This is way before he ever got big and famous. I've been watching his channel, and he's a bit of an inspiration for me in that he's a veteran who kind of just after he got out had a regular job and then said, you know what, screw this. I'm not doing the regular job thing. And then started doing his YouTube channel. And both Tyrone and I can relate to that. So, but I've been wanting to talk to him for, I don't know, 7 years probably since his channel came out. So I'm super excited about that. And Y-Files is my favorite show. So pumped about that too. Are you going to go, man? You just heard about this yesterday.
I don't know. I might. I don't know. I got some trips coming up, so I don't know if I want to go to that one.
Like with the family or what?
No, just I'm traveling. I'm going to Coral Castle. I'm going to Serpent Mound. There's a Titanic museum in Universal in Orlando that I want to go to.
You're going to Coral Castle like just by yourself?
Yeah, probably.
Man, I'll go to Coral Castle with you. I've always wanted to go to Coral Castle.
I think it's like on certain days too.
On those days?
No, I don't. I haven't even looked at these days yet, like what day of the week they are.
Well,
but I might. I don't know. The tickets are like what, $420
for this?
Yeah,
they're $420.
Yeah, I think that's what I've seen somebody say or seen something on there. I didn't dig into it yet. I think I've seen it on the actual website, actually. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm supposed to be getting a promo code. So if it is $420, that's actually a funny number to make your ticket prices. But if it's $420, I might be able to reduce that by $42 here. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm looking for a promo code from Mr. Michael Collins. So hopefully I can get that for you guys. But I'm pumped about this. The reason why I like shit like this is because you connect with other people. It's not even really about meeting these people who you will get to meet from YouTube and from, TV and stuff like that, people you've been watching for a long time. It's you meet other regular people who, like this shit. Yeah, like Ashish.
And Josh the Ancient. Yeah,
yes. And Nick.
Josh gave us his little books when we met him. So you just, like you said, man, you get to see regular people, and then you get to see the people that you talk to online and on the social medias and stuff. It's a whole different feeling and vibe, and you actually get to see people's intentions and everything like that. So.
Yeah, and you get their like actual their vibe, their energy, right? Like somebody like feels different on TV than they do in person. You know what I'm saying?
You ever heard that? You ever heard somebody say, "Man, I met my idol, man, but they was a straight jackass." You ever heard somebody say that?
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have.
see, so
And you also just when you meet these people, you sometimes realize, oh, they're just people. They're like just a regular person like me. So it's cool. But I do have like a bunch of respect and admiration for guys like Michael Collins and Michael Button, who are veterans of the multiverse as well, and AJ and Jimmy. And I'm not a big nerdrotic guy. Like I don't watch their show, but I do watch the Forbidden Frontier because that's when they have people about these topics on. Gary Buechler is the nerdrotic guy who also does Forbidden Frontier. Have you ever seen that?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show, and they're like somehow affiliated with Cosmic Summit, but I guess they're going to be not affiliated with these guys too. So this kind of stuff's going to be popping up everywhere, and this looks like I trust Michael Collins to put on a good show, and this looks like a killer lineup. So if you have the time and the money and whatever to come check it out, December 5th to December 7th. I'll be there. I think Mike will be there. I'm not entirely sure if Mike's going to be there, but Brittany will be there. She's going to be doing some of the photography. So yeah, should be cool. If you're, I wanted to show a trailer for our episode of Humans of the Multiverse dropping tomorrow with Aaron of Megalithic Mysteries. Do you know Aaron? He's the guy who does the breaking ancient news.
I don't even know, to be honest with you.
No worries. I'm gonna you tell me if you recognize this dude, but he's an interesting guy. He just started a YouTube channel, but like he's been exploring ancient sites, like just for fun.
He has like a khaki type hat on.
I don't know. So maybe
I think he sounds familiar, but I don't know.
You're thinking of I don't know who you're thinking of. I don't know, but this is Aaron here. I'm just gonna play a minute 90-second trailer for his episode, dropping tomorrow at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Eastern. We really enjoyed it.
And Peru's got access to the Amazon jungle, which I'm sure every single week, as I'm sure you guys see, there's like new LiDAR surveys about giant cities for 10,000 people that are just there in the Amazon. Like, oh, they're just there. They just got buried. It's an interdimensional connection, and something that always fascinates me, and something that I'll experience one day when I'm ready. We don't have the puzzle, so when you find a new piece that doesn't necessarily fit into the puzzle, maybe it's not because the new piece doesn't fit. Maybe it's because you're building the puzzle incorrectly. And I think that's where archaeology gets a little confused. What would that say if, like, after 50 years of being the authority that you were actually kind of wrong about this big thing? So it's like, from a purely human perspective, like that would be life-shattering. It's something that has always bothered me about most institutions is when some figure or some person betrays to have the information as if they are the sole voice of authority. Because you think 100 miles one way, you've got unlimited food from the jungle. 100 miles the other way, you've got unlimited food from the ocean. Yet the Incan people, they settled and they chose Cusco for their capital city. There's a specific reason why, and I think it's because they did not build the city of Cusco. They happened upon this place that was a remnant from the Ice Age civilization.
That's our episode dropping with Aaron of Megalithic Mysteries, Mr. Aaron Hines. He's got a new show. He's done about 4 episodes called Breaking Ancient News. And he basically talks about what's happened on different podcasts, if there's conferences that happened, and actual breaking news of archaeology, ancient history, Egyptology, all that stuff. Shout out to Chris Cottrell watching. He says, no Carolina Bay talk in Scottsdale. I don't know, man. We got to put you in touch. You got to message Michael Collins, Wandering Wolf, get you on that bill, because we always love some Carolina Bay talk. And he also said, Josh is the best. Love that dude. Yeah, I'm actually going to have Josh. Maybe I'll have Tyrone on the show at the same time. But Josh works like a weird hours, and he works at an elementary school, and he works from the afternoon to the evening. So he's going to be hard to get on the show. We're going to have to do a live with him on Saturday, and I'll try to bring Tyrone on for that at the same time. So we'll keep you posted when Josh what is it? Josh the Ancients, Tyrone? Is that what it says?
Yeah, Josh the Ancient. Josh the Ancient.
Josh the Ancient. Yeah, he's on TikTok, Instagram, and he has an X, but he's not super active on that. He's a young dude, so he's not on the old people social media like me. I'm excited for that event, and I'm excited for my episode to drop tomorrow. Aaron Hines, Megalithic Mysteries and Breaking Ancient News on YouTube. Please check him out. Chris says, good timing for a live show. I meet my online students every Thursday evening, so I have this on in the background while I wait for the meeting to start. Perfect. That's why you were there last week, too. Well, we appreciate you, Chris. We can't wait to have you on the show again and see you next year at Cosmic Summit. Any else that I like to go on if we can pull it? Yeah, man. Okay, I will definitely, Chris. I will definitely hit you up if that and try to make that happen. That would be fun, and it'll be like a little Cosmic Summit reunion. Tammy in New York. Hey y'all, how's it going, Tammy? What's up? Nice to see you. Good to see you every week. And something new here. Mr. Rubate dropped $5 Australian as a super chat. This is new, guys. I got 2 earlier today and 1 now. I've only been able to do this for 2 weeks. This comes from the hours and minutes and seconds you guys have watched the show, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. That's the only reason why I'm able to do this. And all the money is going to go back into floating this boat for the rest of the year because we have subscriptions to pay for and things like that. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And Rubate says, does Tyrone come across archaeo narratives that he feels are just religious dogma, become a target for questioning those interviews? So do you come across archaeo narratives that you feel are just religious dogma?
Well, let me ask you a question. How would you put that into an answer? Because dogma to me means so many different things. So what does dogma mean to you?
I'm thinking what he is intending it to mean is like something that it's basically a forced narrative or an agenda, an establishment opinion that like you're not allowed to go against, right? So like an archaeology narrative that is it's heresy to say it's a suicide for your career, or like you'd be ostracized or whatever. There's a lot of things, but they're all kind of getting broken open nowadays, like the walls are crumbling, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, see, so I know a lot of people have put a lot of labels on me. I'm not saying this person, but I've had labels put on me like charlatan or somebody that's misinformed and stuff like that. And all I do is just share what I've read. Like literally, that's all I do. I don't take anything and say it's facts over fiction or anything like that. What I usually do is I just take whatever, like if somebody, for instance, if we're talking about the Sumerians, I know the top sources for the Sumerian ancient texts. And if we're talking about the Mesoamerica, I can talk about, the Mayan codices and so on and so forth. So I know where to go for these texts and stuff. And what's funny to me is that a lot of people already have a narrative of what they believe. And usually I would say, hey, and I'll ask them, can you tell me where that says what you say, where that's at? And they'll tell me, oh, well, just go read like the Popol Vuh. And I said, well, I've read the Popol Vuh, so I'm not understanding, like, where you're getting your versions from, because I want to see what because obviously the one that I have isn't saying what you're saying. So I want to read the person that you suggested translations, because I've always said this in the past. There's always going to be multiple translations in the text. You can pick up one book. That doesn't mean that person got all the translations correct for that language. So you have to go to other people. I've always said it before in the past. I read one person's stuff, and then I like to read somebody's counter argument just to see who could provide text and more understanding on why their argument is right over the other one. So,
so what you're saying is that, like, when it comes to archaeology, you always go to the source, and you don't worry about what the like academic accepted fact is. You go right to the earliest source and try to make up your mind from there.
See, and that's why I kind of paused, because this is where it comes into confusion. Whenever it's time for when somebody finds something, it's usually by accident, right? Because it's lost in time, right? Unless it's always been there, and then of course they have many records of it and so on and so forth. But the thing is that when somebody finds something, they usually report it to somebody else, who usually goes and finds a university who wants to take up the costs and expenses to dig it up. Well, guess what? Those people are hiring archaeologists that they feel comfortable to go do that site. So it's hard to say archaeologists one thing, and then you have the experts who know how to do the translations of the language, the pictures, and all this other stuff. And then, all those people are surrounded by what? Colleges, universities, even what they call it, community colleges. Like around here, they have places where people can go and do things. So you have these universities taking over that stuff. You don't have an independent archaeologist out there. You don't have a group of independent archaeologists out there. And I'll give you a perfect example on how I can explain that. Everybody that's going to be at that convention in, what is it, in Arizona, you said?
Yep.
Yeah. Imagine if all those people on that flyer got together and created their own funds to dig up sites on their own. And I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but just imagine people coming together like a university would to have funds to, dig up these sites. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to stop sharing that. It's one of those things where I really appreciate people like Matt Bell, who have some independent resources and, is able to fund some research, because it's hard to, we were talking about this on our field trip as far as like making like alliances and joining groups and trying to start shows with different people and things like that on YouTube. It's hard enough just to make that work. Imagine like all them people trying to organize and coordinate in a structured way that took in donations and put it to the right places to decide where to dig in the right places and yada, yada, yada. It's actually surprisingly difficult to like organize in that way, and usually takes established institutions to pull stuff like that off. I just wanted to mention to Vince Barrows, he asked, what does the Rock Eagle represent to you? And then also, is the Rock Eagle Effigy Mound in Georgia evidence of trade on mound building technology with Wisconsin rock effigy mounds? We're going to get to that in a little bit. So hang tight, and we'll talk about our experience there. Yeah, man, the narrative is crumbling, and maybe, like you said, new types of institutions, new people need to band together and put their money where their mouth is and go start excavating. The other thing is, though, is there's like, it's not like you can just get 30 people with money together and go dig somewhere. You got to get permits and authority like approval and things like that. And that's where like the institutions, they have these connections to do that, and like that sort of thing in place already, that sort of infrastructure. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the future holds, because I know nobody's lining up to get an archaeology degree right now, you know, at a regular institution. I bet their numbers are gone way down. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, that's why I said for me, my point is just I just want to know the facts. You know, and the facts is what is somebody saying on ground. And then I want to, and the reason why I don't really put too much say into, you know, archaeologists and stuff like that, you know, or universities, is because you can have two guys from the same college, from the same school, from the same university, right? But these individuals, right, will have two different ideas, right? And they will argue against each other, right? But they both have the same degree, the same credentials and everything. Same school, same teacher, possibly, you know what I'm saying? But they have different things. So, you know, it's not, I want to hear both arguments. And I give you a good example. I always talk about the Anunnaki. You know, and many people know Billy Carson says he goes off the idea of Zechariah Sitchin, where it says they orbit the sun every 3,600 years. But when you read the actual cuneiform tablets that he says the sources that he uses, the Oxford sources, because Oxford has a handbook for, on cuneiform culture. And they also have the electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature. So when you read their text, they say that they actually came from the depths of the sea. And then, you know, Enki is also dressed as a fish god. And the word Abzu, ABZU, literally means fresh water or sea, right? And that's where Enki supposedly came from. So they can't, that's where it says more from the waters, from the sea, than it does from a planet that orbits our sun every 3,600 years. So now my point is how can I prove one over the other one? Well, now it's up to Billy Carson's responsibility to tell me which cuneiform tablet says what he says, right? And then I can go off of also what since I already have text for the handbook of cuneiform culture that says, is this cuneiform tablet, you have to look at the depictions of their gods. You have to see what the god represented, because he was a water god, right? And all this other stuff. And they tell you what to look for to tell you on where they came. So they're telling us in their text where they came from. It's just now people are nobody knows where they came from is louder than the ones that are saying, hey, I have the book right here. I'm telling you, you can go to these sources and use it. So that's why I say, like, but that's archaeology fighting over each other. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and then there's a lot of infighting there, and then there's a lot of like, don't come on my turf kind of thing, don't enter my turf, for engineers and geologists and things like that, which is why I think a lot of these answers are going to get solved outside of that arena. We do need the skills that are, you know, taught in archaeology and that kind of thing. But like, they're important skills to learn, the technical skills of archaeology and geology and all that stuff. But on the flip side, Shaman 711, our friend, he said, honestly, he's found a lot without any resources. It can be done. And he does. Go check out his Shaman 711. He's always on ground in Alabama, finding all kinds of neat geological anomalies and things like that. And I learn stuff from him all the time. And so it can be done. It can be done. He also said, just go check out any active construction sites if you live in the Southeast. There's truth there, man. Remember that Varna site that I did a presentation on with Universe Unveiled? Varna with the gold, the oldest gold in the world.
Yeah.
They found that at a construction site. A lot of archaeology starts with like construction or development. Vince Barrow says they don't even do archaeology at all. They don't, but sometimes if they're like ethical and they find some shit, you'll end up with a site like the Varna Necropolis. I'm going to play a little short from that episode of Universe Unveiled. We did a little panel called the UU Crew with Shaman 711, Tyrone from Rebirth of the Word, Ricardo Calvario, History, Myths, and Legends, and the Institute for Natural Philosophy, and Nick from Occult Rejects with the gals at Universe Unveiled. I'm going to play a little bit about that. But this site that I'm presenting on here was found in a construction site in 1972. So let's check it out. All right, you can see the penis sheath there. So let's just all look at this dude's penis sheath for a second.
No
Top
podcast
left.
is complete without one of those.
So the mummified Russell Brand had a
Right,
penis
correct.
sheath. Oh my God, that's absolutely fucking spot on, isn't it?
Yep, they sure did. And you know what? I think I wouldn't be surprised if he mummified himself anyway when he's gone, and he does have a penis sheath.
I hope he
Keep
does.
that shit from
Wouldn't
happening
surprise me at
again,
all.
wouldn't it?
Me too. Yeah. So he was approximately 40 to 45. I tried to find like evidence of like a violent death, like in a battle or anything. I didn't find one. Nothing obvious. But everyone back then had broken this and fractured that. So that was fun, wasn't it? Doing that little panel.
Yeah, it was. It was
You
definitely fun.
did an interview with them too.
Yep. I did one before that, and then that was them, and then and then I had one with Sarah when we was with Ashton
Oh,
Forbes.
right, that was with Sarah on Occult Rejects, right? That was cool.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to play a little short from your episode of Universe Unveiled. I just want to shout out these gals. They're doing good work. Their new podcast, backed by the Institute for Natural Philosophy. And this is Tyrone. Go check out his episode of Universe Unveiled.
Because a lot of people say that the Anunnaki came from planet Nibiru. That orbit our sun every 3,600 years. But when you
I
actually
just
read
talked
the
about
Cuneiform Culture book, the book from Oxford University, which everybody uses their source for, it literally says they came from the depths of the sea.
You
Inky
did
was
say
a
that,
fish
didn't
guy.
you?
Yes.
What's the most important thing that we see a lot?
Yeah.
USOs. We see UFOs in the sky for a reason. But does anybody really? But the only source that we know where they ever came from is where? The depths of the sea. Have you ever seen or heard of anybody say it came out the sky into ours and hovered? We never heard that. It just showed up. Most of the time, it's just showed up.
Yeah, that's a good episode of the show. They also they also interviewed me. I don't know why, but I just shared my story, guys. I shared my kind of life story on the show. I've had a wild ride in my life. Everyone has. But if you want to hear my wild ride and how I got to this spot and how I used concepts from the multiverse hypothesis to get where I'm at, check it out. I'm just going to play a little quick short from that too before we move into our field trip. Tyrone made an interview. But this just came out yesterday on Universe Unveiled. Go check it out. Have you guys ever met a doppelganger of yours?
I haven't specifically, but I repeatedly have people tell me when they meet me, like their first impression of me, and that they find out my name is Jacqueline. I always think a lot of people give me an odd look and say, I know a Jacqueline who looks just like you. It's so strange.
So there's somebody out there like that could like steal your identity and like
Sure.
just kill you. And well, they say if you meet your doppelganger, you should kill them before they kill you.
Very weird.
I don't know who says that. Maybe I just made that up.
Did you make that up?
Probably. Probably. Sarah, have you ever met a doppelganger of yours?
No, the world only needs one of me. That's
That's
Well,
a true fact.
there's a third one of me, and we'll get to him. So it's a fun show. I just wanted to give them a little bit of a promo. Tyrone and I both been on there. We did the Universe Unveiled crew. So shout out to the gals at Universe Unveiled. Yeah, man. The field trip was fun. I'm looking forward to doing more.
Okay,
You've got a video you made of the field trip that you're going to show us, right?
Yeah, let me Let me bring this up first.
I'm going to stand up for a sec because I've been sitting in this chair all day. Rubate's been with me all day. He's at work, but he's been with me all day. Because I was live for 3 hours earlier with Ashish and Kieran. It was a good one though. I got my first super chat ever. That was a good fun. You sharing.
Well, hopefully it's loud enough because, like I said, I'm still in the works. I didn't get to run it through Audacity yet because it was kind of low on some parts. Yeah, but whenever you're ready, I can go ahead and play it.
Explain what it is first.
So it's just so basically I'm doing a documentary and I'm putting my documentary on Rumble. This is just like I guess would be a snippet of it, of how I'm going to do it. This is the first one. Well, not the first one I went to. I've been to many different places. This is actually the second one that I recorded for like a portion of my documentary and stuff. But it's just going to be places that I visit. And Dave's going to be there too, of course, because he said he wants to go to some of them. So some of them is going to be on there. So it's just like, I put it together in like 30, 45 minutes. I wanted to work on it last night a little bit, but it started thunderstorming and I didn't want to lose it in the middle of the storm. So I just waited till today and I did it a little bit and it's only about 6 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. You ready? All right, what's up, everybody? It's me, Rebirth of the Word. Right now, I'm here at Rock Eagle Mound, and before I show you around, I'd like to read what this says. It says, "Mound of prehistoric origin believed to be ceremonial mound, made with white quartz rocks in the shape of an eagle. Head turned to the east, length 102 feet, spread of wings 120 feet, depth of breast 8 feet. Only 2 such configurations discovered east of the Mississippi River. Both are in Putnam County." This is interesting what this quote says. It says, "Tread softly here, white man, for long ere you came strange races, lived, fought, and loved." So now I'm about to take you on a tour around Rock Eagle Mountain. Let's roll, people. This is pretty cool right here. You know, look at this stuff.
So we need to. I'm like,
you know, different experience.
Am I going?
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. No, it's going to.
This is how it is, though.
It's actually getting. It's going to get. It's just like a little snippet of it. What we did. Try to record everything. You know, I was out there with my little stick,
sharing the knowledge that you have.
Where am I?
We got Dave rolling
look to your left side.
I'm over here with him from Mike and Dave's Multiverse.
Hey, Dave from Mike and Dave's Multiverse here with Tyrone from Rebirth of the Word. We are in Eatonton, Georgia at the Rock Eagle Effigy Mound. We are at the top of the tower that was built in the 1930s with this express purpose of getting a better view of the mound. It's about 102 feet long, 100 feet wide, wingtip to wingtip, and about 8 to 10 feet high, depending on where you're at. And there's a 2.5 mile trail here. We're going to do that as well. But yeah, come hang out.
So how does it feel to be here, Dave?
Well, we are here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning at Rock Eagle Effigy Mound in Georgia. And it's pretty peaceful out here. There's no interpretive center or anything. and we're the only people here. There was deer, and yeah.
Yeah, I was pissed about that. We was talking about that shit.
People always gotta write their name on shit.
Yeah.
That was good, man.
Man.
Oh no, it's not. That's not it. That's right. I forgot.
But yeah,
I
it looks
forgot
like
I
a
added
turtle to
some.
me.
Yeah, it looks way more like a turtle than a.
Like, why do they think it's an eagle? Eagle is not shaped that way.
No. So I'm glad you had that. Let's stop sharing because I'm going. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I'm glad that you ended on that because it says, "What does Rock Eagle represent to you?" from Vince Barrows. And we both said it right away. We're like, that looks like a turtle. Doesn't that not look like a turtle to you? And we were saying that the whole time. What does it represent to me? I'm going to answer that in a different way. What it represents to me is that, well, first of all, they don't really know how old the thing is. They just guess. They don't really know who built it. They just guess. And I'm going to do a little short PowerPoint about that, about this site and another site we ended up going to right after this called Rock Hawk Effigy Mound. What it represents is that, you know, there was, that's a pretty complex structure. For example, like it does have some archaeoastronomy related to it. I'm going to get into that a little bit. There's some, you know, there's nothing super concrete, but it just really depends if the archaeoastronomy when it was built, right? Because like,
hey, I think he's saying you echoing.
I'm echoing
again.
right now.
Yeah, I think Rube.
I'm echoing right now. Can you hear me echo?
Not to me. You sound
Because I
good
was
to me.
echoing before in my own head. So maybe he's a few minutes behind us or something. I hope I'm not echoing.
Okay.
Having audio issues tonight. Am I still echoing, Rubate? But it depends on when they built it, because the sun and the moon are in different places depending on like how long ago the thing was built. And okay, Vince says it sounds clear. Excellent, thank you, Scarlett. And hey, Scarlett, how's it going? Scarlett's in Georgia too. She's close to a lot of these sites. Love having Scarlett in the chat. When we first got there, the moon was coming up literally right behind that tower. No, it might have been going down. Yeah, it was going down, but right behind.
No, it stayed up there.
I know, but
It
it's
stayed
got
up
to
there.
go somewhere. So it was on its way down to set, and it was like right above the tower at that time. And then when we were in the tower, looking in the direction that the eagle is facing, the sun was coming up, right? And I mean, that's probably just a coincidence, but that is what happened.
Yeah, it looked like it was beaming in the middle of it like this.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Chris said it was just when the video was playing. Yeah, I noticed for some reason when Tyrone was playing his video, I was echoing, so I was trying not to talk. So hopefully that wasn't too annoying for you guys. I made a PowerPoint for our adventure because we did go to a place called Rock Hawk. What happened is we got there and we were hoping there was an interpretive center. And then there was a place called a 4-H center, which I'd never heard of. So we went to go over there, and there was like a gate and like a dude who was like, sorry, you can't come in. Apparently you had to like rent the lodge there. And that's where like they go and do like classes and stuff like that, I guess. You had to like be a group and like rent the lodge. But anyway, there was no restroom either, which was annoying. We were like, well, is there any other place that's close to here? And we literally 25-minute drive away was this Rock Hawk effigy mound as well. So we went and checked that out. And so let's take a look. So this just a general information PowerPoint. Talking about Rock Eagle Effigy Mound, Rock Hawk Effigy Mound, and Fort Mountain Stone Wall, which I also went to. Yeah, we're going to skip that. Just get right into it. They're located in Putnam County, Georgia, which is like 3 hours from Savannah and 2 hours from where I live in Forsyth County. It's a bird-shaped or turtle-shaped effigy mound east of the Mississippi River and a key cultural landmark. As you can see, it's very well preserved, which is cool. Rock Hawk is not. You'll see that in a second. It says built by woodland Indians between 1000 BC and 300 AD, likely served as ceremonial or burial purposes. They always say that. It is maintained as an archaeological site by the University of Georgia. So they're the ones who maintain it now. So probably some preservation work has been done there and stuff like that. But we already seen some stuff like this, but it's 102 feet by 120 feet, 8 to 10 feet high. They say it's identified as an eagle, but some people say a buzzard or a vulture. And I'll actually get to that here in a second because those did have significance to the population here at that time. And I saw one at Fort Mountain State Park. It's thousands of white quartzite rocks transported from distant locations, along with non-indigenous clay placed atop a natural rock outcrop. So the quartzite rocks didn't just come from one place. I looked up. They seem to have just collected them from all over, which is interesting. There was cremated human remains found at the site. That's why they say it was a burial ground or ceremonial location. There was one projectile point that was uncovered. The Civilian Conservation Corps constructed a stone observation tower, which is what we were in the 1930s. That's just so you can get a good view of the thing. And I wanted to address Vince Barrow's question because he asked, what did he ask? I don't know. I don't even, oh yeah. If it was related to trading with the Wisconsin and other mound building cultures, I looked into that, and as you can see here, it says a projectile point was uncovered. Surprisingly little artifacts were recovered from this site. Yeah, Wisconsin connection. Thanks, Vince. Surprisingly little artifacts, so it's hard to connect it. But it's my general belief that the mound building cultures started on the East Coast and spread west and got more complex as they spread from the Northeast to the South, the Southeast, and into the West. So I'm betting there's some kind of a connection, but they just don't have one. But thank you for the question. We went to Rock Hawk Effigy Mound. Let me put this in slideshow mode so it looks better. Rock Hawk Effigy Mound. This place was a little better. It had like a little interpretive center, not like an indoor one, an outdoor one with a bunch of stuff about the Civil War. Did you find that like inappropriate for like a Native American site? Like what was all the Civil War stuff?
No, and I actually asked you a question when we got here, and I didn't put it in this video because I want to do my due diligence on it. But that was, the idea of it being inappropriate or not, I don't think so. It's part of the history. I mean, this is what we have available at hand. So how can you be upset at the little bit that you have already? If they gave you more, would you go visit it? Because just like you said, we were the only ones there, except one other guy was there, but I think he went on a walking trail or something like that. But the whole time we was there, and we was there from at least because we did the trail too. So we was there at that spot for at least 45 minutes. And then we was at the other place for at least another hour and good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, I don't mean like inappropriate, like in an offensive way or anything like that. I guess I just meant like, what did it have to do with the Rock?
Yeah, no, that's what I was
so
saying.
You're just saying that it's just like an extra thing to check out. It's like a Civil War monument.
Well, because they had is known for that side. That area is also known for a lot of fighting during that time frame. So that's why I said, I don't think it's part of the history. They had, it was already, it's in that area. They actually had, you remember all those pictures that we took of all those things. Yeah, we took a lot of those pictures, didn't we? Of those things that
the little signs, right?
Yeah, the signs. Because I got some of it.
I got pictures of all the signs. I just didn't feel like showing them all on this little quick presentation.
Yeah, that's why I said I couldn't. I didn't finish the other video because I actually, like I said, on the other video because I have it in separate photos. Yeah. My question that I asked you, and of course I'll put it out there later because I don't want to talk about that right now because I don't know enough information on it to talk about it. But I think that's a serious question that needs to be asked because, I know they've had to find artifacts there. I know they had to. And I'm sure that they have them somewhere, probably at that 4-H club, but we don't have the opportunity to see it. So, maybe you can get my answer for that question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we was gated off, bro. Not even restrooms, bro. That's how bad it is. You had to go somewhere else to go to the restroom. No matter if you had a medical problem or not, you weren't allowed to go there. Even for restroom.
I was about to talk because I had to go. I was about to tell him I'm about to bust, man, and see if you let me in. But supposedly a 4-H club is a youth development organization that provides hands-on learning experiences and leadership opportunities for young people ages 5 to 18. So I think it was for like Boy Scouts and stuff. I don't know. But like maybe they do some like weird occult stuff there too when they're not doing school stuff. But it was weird that like there's literally not even a porta potty at this place, and it's like kind of in the middle of nowhere, The closest restroom was like a 30-minute drive to a gas station. So anyway, this is Rock Hawk Effigy Mound. It's near Lake Oconee. It's managed by Georgia Power. So this fence is fenced off from Georgia Power,
Yep.
which is interesting. We read all about that while we were there. I got a picture. That picture up top is mine. And the picture below, I got put in the sources below. But I think I might have just got it off somebody's Pinterest or something. But you could see the difference between winter and summer. You can see the mound much better. But this one is far worse preserved than Rock Eagle. And so, but you did have like a whole, like a bunch of different signs about like the birds and animals of the area and history of the area and different things like that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, like let me see. I'm trying to find the first one.
So I'm gonna, yeah. So
because there was one that talked about the Revolutionary War and where it was at and stuff like that.
So let me pull this one down. Hide. Okay. So Rock Hawk is a similar scale to Rock Eagle, but it lacks precise measurements due to the erosion and degradation. If you can see in the picture on the top left, it's hard to tell from here. Maybe I can zoom in. It won't let me zoom in because I'm sharing screen. But the top left, the picture on the left, the pictures on the top left were done in the late 1800s. The pictures in the middle were drawn in like the 1930s or something. And then the pictures at the bottom, which are far less detailed, are the newest pictures, I believe, from the 90s, from a university. So on the sign, it talks about how either it got heavily degraded in the last 100 years, or in which it did, or the older pictures were less accurately measured, is what they were saying. And I'm not really buying that. But if you look at the bottom picture, I know it might be hard for some of you to see because I can't zoom in.
I'm trying to zoom in on mine.
I don't know why it won't let me. But it won't let me zoom in, so I'm sorry. But you can see that it's a totally different design. It doesn't even look like a bird or in the new drawing. They're basically and they're questioning whether it was a effigy mound in the same way as the other one, which I think is crazy. The current condition is bad, and so there's a poem that I'm going to read for you guys that was there that I can't read because it won't let me zoom in, but I'll just pull it up from my pictures. They say this one was built in the middle woodland period around 1,000 to 3,000 years ago. For whatever reason, they think this is much bigger than Rock Eagle and other Native American mounds, probably due to the condition. Tribal identity is unknown, but reflects ceremony traditions linked to bird effigies and spiritual significance. It's managed by Georgia Power. And so that was a cool one. I actually kind of liked that one better. It had more to do there, more to see. So I don't know. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, that one was more interesting to me too. And the only reason why is because, like you said, there was more to do. They gave you more of the background of it, right? Even if it was just those little picture. I don't even know what to call them. Billboards, small billboards, I guess. And they have a lot of them, and that's what made it very interesting. I didn't stop and read every single one of them, of course, but I did read the ones that caught my eye, and of course, I'll read them when I do my article on this place, because I'm gonna do 2 articles, one on Rock Eagle and then one on this one here, Rock Hawk, and it wasn't just the eagle itself that was there that caught my eye. You remember when you was pulling up, I was taking photos of all the rocks and boulders that was in the surrounding area at Rock Hawk, like literally just sitting on the side of the road. I was taking pictures on there, seeing if I can find some type of writing system, some inscriptions or something on there. You know, I was trying to find some. I took a couple of pictures of those. And then you remember when we did our little our trail walk, they had, you know, those little rocks everywhere. And you can see how and I don't know if it was done on purpose or if it's just from walking that trail for, you know, for however long it's been walked on, but you could tell that the trees, the roots were creating like stairs for you. So you didn't have to worry about, you know, trying to slip and fall and walk up some stuff. I mean, of course, you got to be careful because, I mean, there are snakes out there. I mean, just being from the South, I don't think twice about it. But, you know, somebody who else would, you know, it'd probably be something they wouldn't really do because it is in the woods. You do have to be careful because they do have signs of poisonous snakes that's around and stuff like that. So if you're walking around in some shorts, it's probably not too, you know,
and we had to go like down
cool.
all these country roads like that, you know, and probably areas where, you know, y'all ain't from around here kind of stuff, right? And so it was interesting to get to. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chat here I wanted to address. Vince Barrow said it's very interesting. There's a rock hawk and an eagle rock. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Moo Conduit, thanks for coming back. Just you were hanging out with me earlier. Appreciate you coming back. Said, was that chart of how the mound changed over time that you just showed? Kind of, and I'm going to show it a little bit better in my pictures because it didn't show up on the slideshow. Well, I wasn't able to zoom in. Some people say that
Hey.
What's up?
This comment, really wild how it's managed by Georgia Power, highly suspicious. I wonder what the LiDAR of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that one up, but the picture is suspicious that he's talking about too, because it showed almost as if it was better. They measured it better 100 years ago than they did now, but they played it off like it showing the degradation of it and how it changed over time. And it could be both, but the point is the picture that with the measurement that I'm going to show you that was on that earlier picture doesn't look like what we were looking at. It doesn't look like the rock hawk or the rock. Like the rock hawk that we were looking at looked exactly the same as the one we had seen earlier on that day, just not as well preserved. It looked the exact same shape. So, and then Vince Barrow says, does Georgia Power fence block access from the general public view? The answer to that question is no. You can the fence you can see, you can walk right up and see it. They also have a tower there that I think they built and manage that you can walk up similarly and get a good view of the mound. So no. Managed by Georgia Power is a bit suspicious. I wonder what the LiDAR of this entire area looks like. I bet you dollars to donuts there's a bunch. Like, for example, there's a third effigy mound that we read about.
Yep, Presley Mound.
Yes.
Yep, it's so funny you say that because when we came back, I was actually trying to dig more into it, and nobody knows where's it's at, first of all, but the assumption or theory or idea is that it's on private land, and of course nobody can get to it, of course, and whatnot if it's on private land. But that brings me to the question, and I'm glad you brought that up. Does the question that I asked you when we left Rock Eagle about is something certain affecting it, and if it's not, who is really behind all this hiding this information? You see what I'm saying? You see it starting to make sense now?
And you're speaking. I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it. You're talking about
I didn't want to bring it up.
You're talking about NAGPRA. Does NAGPRA have anything to do with that? Here's why I don't think so, but like I could be wrong. NAGPRA is the controversial Native American Grave Repatriation Act, where some people fiercely believe in it, and some people think that the new interpretation of it, makes there too much gray area, and then universities are covering things up, and there's a whole conspiracy chain you can go down if you want. But here's why I don't think NAGPRA is affecting that, because like you said, I read it was on private property. There's a name for it too, Presley Mound, and the reason why they named it that was because it was on a property that was called the Old Presley House or the Old Presley Home or something like that. And
Yeah,
I don't know. The question would be who now owns that, because that was an old, basically farmhouse that a family owned named Presley, and that's where it was. And now the last thing I had read was, it's overgrown. You can't find it. No one knows where it is. No one knows who owns that property anymore. And I call bullshit on that. But I don't know if NAGPRA would have anything to do with that, because it makes me wonder. We'd need to know when it was found and compared to when NAGPRA was put into play and that kind of thing. But it's possible it got scrubbed from the record. But there's another one. It's supposedly not that far away.
But that's my point is, does it only affect certain things? Because if it's somebody's private property, then NAGPRA doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Then NAGPRA can't get involved. But there's enough money talks, bro. So just as well as I know that if somebody comes with enough money to buy some land, they can buy it and do whatever they want with it. Right. The only reason, and this is the only reason why I bring that up is because of the simple fact that people have been saying that this has been going on since the 80s. Okay. At least the 80s, this has been going on, and that eventually is going to come to a point where we're not going to be able to have information. But my point is right now is, how much of that information are you trying to gather right now while it's still available, instead of being behind the screen?
Well, it's a good question, because we didn't have time that day, but I feel like tracking down this site, yes, if it really exists, and I don't think it's going to be too far off the beaten path. We just need to find out where that old Presley home was located, and then.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can find it, because you can go to the archives at the whatever county it's in.
I think it's in Putnam County.
Who might have?
I think it was less than 20 minutes from where we were at just then.
Well, they said on, I think on one of those signs, if I'm not mistaken, or something I read online, could have been possibly, I'm not sure. It gave you a roundabout radius of where it was at, where it could have been. And nobody has actually went to go look for it. I mean, we could definitely go try to. I mean, you've seen I have my compass out there and my sundial, so I'm already ready. But if anything, seriously, we can go out there with some yarn, mark off some trees of where we've already been to.
Try to find it. We need to talk to some old people that live around there too. That's the ticket. Start with talking to some old people that live around there, and then
that's not hard to do at all. That can be our mission. That can be our mission. We can meet up there once every month, go up there for 24 hours, stay up there for 24 hours, talk to some people, try to get some information, ride through the old communities.
If there
and
is
stuff like that.
A third one, that means to me there's probably dozens in the area. And that's why Mick Conduit mentioned LiDAR in the area. Let's just LiDAR this whole mother, you know what I mean? Let's just LiDAR the shit out of this place. I'm going to read this poem that they had here. I guess it's I don't know why it keeps doing that to me. For some reason, it won't let me zoom in, right? So I'm going to do this again. But it says, in the town where I was born, there is a mound some 8 feet high, that from the ground seems piled up stones, in Georgia, insignificant. But from above the lookout tower floor, an eagle widespread in solid gravel, stone takes shape below. The Cherokees raised it long ago, before westward journeys in the snow, before the national policy slew, long before Columbus knew. I used to stop and linger there, within the clean-swept tower stair, rock eagle pine sounds, rush of stillness lifting up my hair.
Pinned in the earth, the eagle endures. The Cherokees are gone. The people come on tours. And on surrounding national forest lakes, the air rings with cries the silenced make. Wearing cameras they never hear, but relive their victory every year and take it home with them. A young future farmers as pale-faced warriors, grub, live off the land, pretend Indian, therefore man, can envision a lake but never a flood on earth so cleanly scrubbed of blood. They come before the rock, jolly conquerors. They do not know the rock. They love lives and is bound to bide its time to wrap its stony wings around the innocent, eager 4-H club. So there's a lot of nuance in there. I will say that it was not, they can't connect these to the Cherokee. They can connect them, I guess, genetically, probably, but the Cherokee have no record of these. The Cherokee, I think, attribute them to the Moon-Eyed people, which I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. But I'm going to just show a couple other quick pictures, just because this was what we couldn't see earlier. So 1879 versus 1950 versus the Georgia Power in 1990, and then the last picture they drew of it in 2004. And I don't know. What do you think about that? It says the drawings show how the shape and measurements of the mound referred to as rock hawk effigy today has changed over time due to disturbances and, quote, unexplained reasons. Were earlier measurements inaccurate? Has the effigy been reconstructed in the past? Were there 2 effigies in the area? These questions strongly point to the need to preserve historic sites, so to respect and understand the past more fully and to allow future generations to learn from and appreciate the site. So that's what I was talking about. Like, they're saying maybe there was more than one in the, more than another one in the area, like in the very near close area. Unexplained reasons. That's a weird thing to put on an official sign. Earlier measurements inaccurate. They don't look inaccurate. Like, it doesn't look like, people in the 1890s were perfectly good at like measuring, art and measuring shit like this.
Yeah, mathematics.
It's my wife.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. This is a bit of a mystery, if you ask me. So I just wanted to show that real quick because he asked about it, and there's a couple more things in there I want to show. So let me go back in there.
Have you ever tried to look up, because I was doing this while we was talking, look up turtles from ancient times or turtles in the past that might look like that? Because we talked about how that looked like a turtle, man. Like, to me personally, 100%, it looks like a turtle to me. And knowing that Native American indigenous people call this place Turtle Island just gives me, and when I say this place, I mean like the Americas. Like, for some reason, a lot of people don't understand that this land has been known to be about turtles. And so that's why I wanted to know, where did they get this idea of an eagle? Because for one, that doesn't look like an eagle to me. Like, if I was standing on top of something looking at that, I'd be like, there's no way in hell I would think this is an eagle. You know what I mean? And I took some photos. Remember, I was out there taking some photos out there with my camera, some of the birds in the area and stuff like that. And none of those birds resembled any of that. But what we did find there? A lot of water.
Yeah.
Right? Seen a lot of ponds and stuff like that. So, what kind of turtle could have been? Is it an extinct type of turtle? Who knows?
I have to look.
But to me, it doesn't look like an eagle, and it doesn't look like a hawk. Like, how in the hell did they come up with that idea? And I don't think it really explained it in any of those things for me to understand, but that's why I'm going to go back and read it to try to understand. But it's not explained to me on how because when you draw something based off what you've seen. And if you're recording it for historical reasons, you're going to try to draw it as accurate as possible. It might not be pinpoint accuracy, but you want it as accurate as possible.
Yeah, well, the conduit says it looks like they reversed it. Yeah, it does. And he said maybe it represents a pole shift. Who the hell knows? That would be sweet. I mean, not that it would be good that we had a pole shift, but it is a mystery. And I like turtles. I like turtles too, man. I remember that guy. That kid changed my life. I like the zombie kid likes turtles. Anyway, yeah, there's some mysteries going on in that area. Seems like there's some stuff to discover. We got a third mound we can chase after. And so we're going to be doing some more of these field trips. I think we're going to do Moundville in Alabama. So Shaman, if you're still watching, maybe you can meet us at Moundville in Alabama. I know Sarah of Universe Unveiled lives close to there as well. So maybe we can go do that. I wanted to show a little bit from this site called Fort Mountain State Park. And I've been hiking here a bunch of times. There's like an 8-mile hike that goes around this mountain. You got to drive up this mountain. You got to drive up for like 16 miles before you get to the park. And then you can do an 8-mile hike around the mountain. And what's up, Kuru App Craig? Kurap Craig? I don't even know how to say it, bro, but thanks for coming back. Good to see you. And so, but it has this stone wall that is basically a mystery. It's this in Murray County, Georgia, in the park. At the park, it's cool. It's got a lake. It's a lake on a mountain. It's got cabins. There's hiking you can do, like backcountry hiking. So I've actually like hiked into this into the mountain, like not inside it, but like into the trail, and like stayed overnight, and packed my gear and took it in there. It was pretty cool. And I always wanted to go back and like, give this site some love. So it's a 855 foot to 928 foot zigzag pattern wall along the mountain crest. It does not, it's close to the peak. It does not show any like signs of like defensive, like, anything. There's never been a whole bunch of like arrowheads found there or anything. I feel like a zigzag pattern would be a good defensive formation, but what do I know? It's believed to have had ceremonial purposes. And again, it was attributed to the woodland period, which is why I thought it was appropriate to this other stuff. And it's linked to Cherokee legends of the Moon-Eyed people, which I did a little bit of digging into. But first I'm going to show some of, these are just pictures I took. Remember, this is on top of a mountain, and it's almost 1,000 feet long, and it zigzags. So the picture on the top left is I took like basically when I walked up the path, and it's right there. The two pictures on the bottom are like along the trail. So only a certain bit of this site is like you can see. The rest of it's like basically buried by the wilderness. The bottom two pictures are basically what I was taking along the path. But it varies between 4.5 and 16 feet. Includes 19 to 29 pits, cairns, stone rings, and a gateway ruin, indicating a complex design, possibly used for rituals. You can't get to all that, and I'm going to show you in a bit. That the picture on the top right is AI generated. I forgot to take it out, but it's anywhere from 2 and 7 feet tall and averages around 4 feet, reflecting its non-defensive ceremonial nature. I mean, it's on a hill. Like if you were on the other side in one of those zigzags, you could set up a defensive posture and shoot at people coming down. I mean, it doesn't have to be high to have a defensive purpose. What do you think about that, Tyrone?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to figure that out about defense of like how high the walls or whatever should be to keep people out and stuff like that. I sometimes think that's used for controlling water.
It might have been. I think that's possible. Yeah, I think that's altogether possible. Controlling water.
Like maybe because you said it sits on top of a mountain and it's high,
Yeah,
right?
it's a very high mountain.
Well, on a hill,
and you have to walk up a hill to get there. Like you park, the parking lot's basically at the summit almost, and then you can like walk up to the top. But yeah, this is the on the left is the shape of it. Very interesting shape. Likely constructed during the middle woodland period, so 100 BC to 500 C, with dating suggesting around 400 to 500 AD based on archaeological evidence. I don't know why, but I don't have what that archaeological evidence is. So if I can find it here in a minute, I will. So it's predating the Cherokee cultures. Again, we have another site predating Cherokee. The Cherokee were well aware of this site, and they attributed it to the Moon-Eyed People, a legendary pale-skinned group with wide eyes. There's some discredited theories suggesting Spanish or Welsh origins because there's no archaeological evidence to support that. So what you're looking at here, so I wanted to look into astronomical alignments, and the Fort Mountain wall stretches roughly east to west and deviates by 28.5 degrees. So there is some deviation there. So it's not a true east to west alignment. What you're looking at in the picture on the left is basically the portion of the wall that's like not covered up by trees. And that's the part where I was taking pictures and walked along. The picture on the right at the bottom, that's the picture on the left, just zoomed out. At the top, that is a 1930s tower for fire watching. And so, but what I found interesting was there's local legends and stories of distant drums, flickering lights, and eerie sounds, enhancing its supernatural reputation. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to camp near the wall. You have to camp at designated backcountry sites or the campground, or stay at the cabins. But maybe I'll camp there and stay, and then like walk over, because there's nobody there at night. You could walk over there and hang out at this wall at night. I've had my telescope out here.
Yeah, you just can't sleep there. That's what they're just saying.
Yeah, basically. But I actually didn't know about the supernatural stuff. I brought my telescope out to the there's an overlook that I'm going to show you guys here in a second. But yeah, interesting. This is just a artist rendition. So is that one up there, artist rendition, in the top right. But on the left, those are actual Cherokee stone figurines depicting the and I forget where the museum is, but depicting the Moon-Eyed People. Cherokee culture is rich in oral traditions, a deep connection to the land with stories passed down through generations. The Moon-Eyed People is a legend that tells the tale of pale-skinned, light-eyed group with poor daylight vision, but good night vision, possibly albinos or an ancient tribe. They were small in stature and said to have built stone structures like Fort Mountain Wall. The Cherokee believed these people were driven away, and their story remains a key part of local folklore, blending myth and history around the site. I did read that the Cherokee don't believe that those people, the Moon-Eyed People, were like aliens or demons or sprites or anything like that. They thought of them as like humans like them, just that looked different and had a different language and stuff like that. Yeah, so preservation's a big, it's like, it can be preservation, conservation when it comes to these sites. I've been thinking about it. It's like, it's good and it's bad, because like a lot of times when you go to these sites, you often see like reconstructions and not plaster, but concrete added. Like Chichen Itza is a bunch of concrete. So is Teotihuacan, but with sites like these, like the University of Georgia, and I guess Georgia Power has a fence around there. You kind of keep it away from assholes, though, that want to spray paint stuff and want to write their name on stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is that what happens when we leave things open to the public, to people, some people don't know how to take care of good things. So what do people have to do? They have to become stricter and stricter and stricter. And it's just crazy because at some point you're probably going to have to revoke their rights to seeing some things because it may get too deteriorated. It's lasted so long, this long, but just in 100 years, 200 years of, you know, ignorant people out there, stupid people out there, they destroy these things. I went to this place called the Horton House here in Georgia. It's like one of the places I visited here, and it's a house made out of tabby basically, and it's like tabby's basically like concrete, sand, and seashells and stuff like that. But it's not closed off. It's open to the public. It's on a really, really nice piece of land. It's on Jekyll Island, actually, in Savannah. And anybody that knows anything about Jekyll Island, you know that you have to have money to live there. And even walking up to the Horton House, you can see people scribbled their names and scratched in their names in the walls and stuff like that. Like I just did an article on it, actually. I don't know if I published it yet or not, but you can see people writing their names in there, and they're destroying history. So now my question is, who is really destroying our history, and who really wants to favor it? Is there a happy middle ground for, you know, people being able to learn about this stuff and still keep it preserved? Because you've witnessed it when we went up there to the damn Rock Eagle Mound, that people were, and that thing was built in 1938, bro. So between 1938 and 2025, and that day we was there, people were.
Somebody writes on there, that kind of shit drives me nuts, man.
Yeah, so just think about that, you know, and that's from I think you said it was made in 1938, so 1938 to 2025, and see what happened. If they didn't close off that fence, I guarantee you people would have took rocks from that place. Guaranteed. I guarantee you some people did it anyway. They jumped the fence, took some and left. But because it's too much work, they probably was just like, fuck it.
Well, and there probably was some reconstruction, let's be honest. Chris from Dabbler's Den says, did you talk to Travis about the possible serpent effigy he came across in North Georgia? Was Travis the guy you introduced me to on the final night, Chris? Because no, if so, no, I didn't. The guy who mistook me for Danny Jones, is that who we're talking about? Because I'd love to. If there's a serpent effigy in North Georgia, I'm on my way, and I do believe that's the guy I talked to about that.
Well, we need to make that one our next one. Then.
I'll get to the bottom of that. I'll call Chris tomorrow if he's not still watching and ask what he's talking about. I think that is the guy though. Moo Conduit says, wouldn't a 2.5 deviation mean that's how much the axis tilt of Earth has changed since then? I guess maybe that's why the people kept track of this shit. It changed all the time. Yeah, who knows, man? That's possible. Maybe that's a way to date that. I'm gonna look into the archaeoastronomy on that and see if it's possible to see like what date that would have been. That sort of deviation, 2.5.
What would that be called? A zodiac sign? No, not a zodiac. What would that be called?
Well, the precession of the equinox, right? Like it moves. The sky moves 72 degrees a year. I can't do the math right now. But yeah.
No, I was trying to think like I can't even think of the word right now because it's in my head somewhere about you know how they say we're in the Pisces time frame.
You're talking about the age of Aquarius. We're about to go in the age of Aquarius.
Yes. What's that word for that?
No.
Astrology. Is it? I can't remember.
Unless there's a different word. The word I think of is astrology. The precession of the equinox.
Well, because
that's how they measure that shit. Like that's how we're about to go into the age of Aquarius. Is that like the sky moves on the horizon 72 degrees a year for a cycle of like 28,000 some odd years. And I'm bro sciencing this. I'm sorry, but over time it gets like the constellation that's in view at sunset and at sunrise is different over time, right? So that's why we're about to move into the age of Aquarius right now. Conduit says, I love having special places, y'all. If we don't keep them, they could slip right off the map to be replaced by some warehouse or Roundup ready cornfield. Please keep going, you guys. We will, man. We will. An eon. Yes. That little vibe is on it. Procession. An eon is an age. I mean, is that the word you're looking for?
No. So I found it. So in some Native American, it's not that. What the Native Americans used to think was the earth rests on the back of the turtles. And they had a calendar on their turtles. When remember when we was there, somebody was saying, is the or not the turtles, the eagles, I'm sorry. You know, when somebody had asked if where's the linked up to, you know, the constellations and stuff like that. And we talked about it already, about how the sun and moon was, you know, just like that. It was that could be like a middle ground, I guess, for, you know, a certain time frame. So now my next question would need to be, would we need to go up there for the summer solstice and the winter solstice and see how that's
a great idea. Let's do that. There's probably a computer program that can do it for us. And like, if there is an accurate, I'm sure there is. If there's an accurate alignment, I'm going to start getting into archaeoastronomy just because I want to. So let me just dig into this. And then if there is a good reason, we can go to all three of these sites and check them out and check out the alignments and stuff like that. Because that's like some of the most amazing shit the ancients did. I'm going to play just this video is just me walking up to the stone wall. I'm like talking, but it's like a 5-minute video because it's a little bit of a walk. I'm probably huffing and puffing a little bit, so I apologize. But let's go ahead and check this out. I put it at 1.75. I'm going to put it at 1.5 so it doesn't go as fast. You can still hear me a little bit. Yeah, it's at 1.5. So heading up to the stone wall, the mysterious stone wall of Fort Mountain State Park. The parking lot's literally just right behind me. You might even be able to see it from here. Over here. Over there is how I drove in, but there's what's called the Gahooti Trail. It's like an 8-mile hike that I've done several times, but I'm not doing it today. As you can see, there's the sign for the stone wall. It's nothing overly impressive, but it is interesting because no one knows why it's there or who built it. Not walking on the path because it's super muddy, as you can see. So I'm a little out of shape. There's a bunch of good lookouts at this park. There's like 3 major ones. There's a campsite.
No, this is actually, I like this. I was telling you that when we was doing ours.
Campsites. And I've done that once, where I hiked in, brought my gear with me, and camped. It was quite peaceful, a little scary, because you're like there by yourself, in the middle of the woods on a mountain. But I kind of like that. But this is Fort Mountain State Park. It's one of my favorite spots in Georgia. Georgia has a lot of cool state parks. I don't know why this one's my favorite. I guess it's because I've been here a bunch, and when I first moved here, I was doing a lot of hiking and camping and exploring, and this is one of the ones that, you know, had a little archaeology at it, had a bunch of views, some really dark skies for my telescope, and like a really gorgeous hike, just absolutely gorgeous hike, that takes, you know, a half a day at least. Back then I was pretty fast, so I think I could do it in you know, 4 or 5 hours, but it takes about 6, I think. And so, I don't know, I just had a lot of fun doing that. Actually forgot how intensive this little hike was just to get up to the stone wall. I didn't realize it would take me 5 minutes, but here we are. I think we're almost there.
Yeah, I think there it is. There's some people up there, so once I get to the top,
Thanks, little
I'll show you
vibe.
guys and I'll turn off the video, and then I'll take a bunch of pictures.
Boots on the ground, you got it.
But we're almost there. You can see it from here. Here's the mysterious stone wall of Fort Mountain State Park.
Slowed it down a little.
As you can see, kind of goes and snakes around there. So I'm going to take some pictures so that we can kind of see how it snakes. Maybe I'll take some compass measurements or alignments and see if there's any astronomical alignments going on here. I bet there is.
So I didn't do that myself because my app wasn't working, and then I felt like a crappy human and I need to bring my actual real compass. But next time I will. But that's it, and that's the spot that I showed you guys overhead. That's the only spot that's open. Here's some of the pictures I took of that area. And I mean, you could see it, as you can see, it would require like a lot of work. But it's nothing like, it's not master craftsmanship or anything. Here's a sign talking about the moon-eyed people. Here's just another sign.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about, bro. Doing this here in the Americas in our local history. This is why I call myself the local historian, because local, and I mean local as all the Americas at least. And what I mean by local is, but I'm your local historian no matter where I go, or at least that's what I'm trying to be by the time I kick over, right? So on my website, I have a tab called local history that I've went to different sites, different locations, learned about it, and wrote articles on it. And then I did a little YouTube video on it, but I didn't, at the time I was writing my book, so I wasn't putting all I could into my YouTube videos. So I was just making them very easy and simple. And because a lot of people are going to AI art and AI videos and shit like that to share stuff that they enjoy, I feel like that's a good idea to do too. But I'm actually going back to all the different places that I visited. And because I already have video and, music and stuff like that from a lot of it already, what I'm able to do is, make a little documentary out of it. So like I said, I'm taking everything that, like, just like how you did those videos, I'm going to put it on my Rumble account. And the reason why is because on my YouTube channel, that's everything that I possibly can put on there, at least, right? Everything that I can possibly put on there. And I already have almost 200 videos on there, and I know not one person is going to look at every 200 videos, right? And I know they're going to pick and choose stuff. But what I want people to do is really look at, if they really enjoy history and love history to the point where, they can take, anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour out their day to watch a cool video on something that they can see, firsthand. That's what I want to bring to the table. So I go to these places and I set up my little camera and, I record myself reading what's actually, like I did at the Eagle Mound one when we was there. That's part of my craft, is reading that stuff there. And it does some things for me. It helps me, one, read all the material that's there, or at least the stuff that catches my eye. And two, it helps me create, an interaction thing with people. So, and I want it to be remembered, right? So and these are things that I really care about, right? Like that's solely into me. Everything I did on my website and my YouTube already, I care about a lot. Yes, I do 100%. But I'm actually taking time now and showing, more, more intimate with where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go to these places and record myself walking, talking about it and stuff like that, and just throwing it on my Rumble account just so people can see it. And it's just going to be local history places. And I also added on my website, food places to eat near these places. So like certain places, if I'm hungry and there's a restaurant right by, I'll go eat there and do a little review on the place and stuff like that. I've already done that in the past already with one article. I did that for Savannah. So you can add that I'm a food critic now, because I'm trying to, because I call it fuel for knowledge. My wife actually came up with that name, fuel for knowledge. You know what I mean? Because I always say knowledge is power, but what do you need for power and knowledge? You need food. And I did an article on it.
I like that.
And it brought me back. Yeah, so it's something. I'm gonna add more restaurants to it. Like I said, I already have a few restaurants that I have a lot of stuff going on, and that's why I'm happy now that I know exactly which way I want to go, and I think I can create enough content for at least a few years just going to different places. We went to Pilot Mountain. That was good. I definitely want to go back there again.
We're going to Cosmic Summit next year again, so we'll go back there again for sure. Yeah, well, I like what you did. I like what you put together for that little video you showed us earlier. And you said you spent like 45 minutes on that. So think about like what a video like that's can look like in a year, especially if you're visiting a bunch of different places. And there's a niche. There's a niche for that. You got to find your thing that you do. For me, I'm not a video editor. I do all the editing for our tape recorded interviews, and I got it down to like a assembly line kind of process, so I don't have to think about it too hard. What I want to do when I go to these sites is just do exactly what I just did and like show it on my live stream, and that way I ain't got to do nothing else with it. But we're going to visit some more sites here in the area, Tyrone and I, and get some more content just like this.
Okay, those people are gone, so we can do a little more video.
Just me walking along.
There's the wall snaking down from where I came from. They say it was a fortification. I don't know what they were fortifying from. Up here on a mountain. Could have been another tribe. Seems like it would have taken a decent amount of manpower, though. This is not like aliens or a lost ancient civilization or anything. The wall goes about 800 feet, which is pretty wild.
So that's about as far as you can like walk by, walk along, and then the rest is like goes back the way I came and this way.
Where, ancient ancestors of the Cherokee.
It's funny you brought up how I think when you were showing us in the beginning, you said that it snakes around.
It does snake around. It's a
snakes.
And that's why
serpentine.
That's why I think it had to do with water. Yeah, that's why I think it has something to do with water.
Well, I'm surprised. I don't even know how. I'm dumb. I didn't make this connection, but yeah. So you can see the wall still in there. I kept walking along the trail and went all the way to the face, and you're just walking along the it's like to your right, but you can't really see it. And you can't really get to where it ends either, which I found annoying. I could have trudged through the woods to get there, but I didn't have my hiking boots on. I just had shoes on. But yeah, the fact that it's serpentine is interesting. I don't know why it's not considered like a serpent mound in a way, because it definitely resembles a serpent. I'm just gonna play this real quick. It's just me walking down the stairs, 44 seconds towards the face.
Ran into a cool little girl that she did cross country and ran this whole loop, and I was like, well, shit, I suck. If you go back that way, you get to the parking lot I came from. You go up that way, you get to the tower, which we'll go to, but we're actually going to go down to the overlook. Here you can see some really cool birds, some falcons and shit flying around. It's pretty fun. Some people do a lot of pictures here for weddings and graduations. I normally come here when it's not Saturday and there's not a lot of people, but there's the overlook.
So it's a cool overlook. Like I said, hopefully this is the right one. Yeah. You can see.
Wow, she's beautiful.
So it's a beautiful bird, but it's what it was a turkey vulture, and they're very majestic when they're
They just
flying.
float.
But you can see hawks and stuff here a lot, and it's great for watching huge birds. And so I just took a couple quick videos, but you can basically see all of Forsyth County from there, which is like pretty far away. It's an hour and a half from my house, and I live in Forsyth County. And then this was interesting. It says the ancient Egyptians believed the most significant thing you can do in life is, I can't, it's scratched out. What do you think that says, Tyrone? Like the ancient Egyptians believed the most significant thing you can do in life is what? Chat, what are they saying there? Can you see that?
No, I don't know, man. There could be a lot for that.
Can you see that? You can't see that? Where'd it go?
I don't see it.
Were you seeing that at all? What I was just showing? I was just
Nope.
talking about nothing. You didn't see me walk. You didn't see the birds.
Oh yeah, I seen the birds. Yeah, I seen
okay.
that. Yeah, I seen that
Okay.
stuff.
I
thought you was talking about his comment.
No, it's not a comment. It's a thing I saw that I took a picture of. At the yes.
Oh that. Oh yeah, my eyes started bothering me when you brought that up. I don't know what the heck happened.
The ancient Egyptians believed the most significant thing you can do in life is something.
Die.
Okay. I was like, why is this like scratched out? This is the key to life. That makes sense. That's definitely something the Egyptians would say.
I wanted to say that too, but I don't know.
Yeah. I just wanted to say to Conduit, you see, he said you keep talking about how you're out of shape, but it's places like this that charge you up. The breath work is scientifically condoned. Yeah. So I did want to say that. So I've had like a bad back for like 3 years, and I'm trying to avoid surgery, and I'm getting a lot stronger. But like a couple of years ago, I could literally barely walk or stand. So I used to be like, I would hike. I was a runner, a hiker, a martial artist. I used to lift weights all the time. For the last 3 years, I haven't hardly done anything like that because I could barely walk. But while I was here, Conduit, and the other times I've gotten out into nature, and like I've been able to move better. I've felt better. I was energized. I did have less pain. So there's something to what you're saying there, my friend. There's something to what you're saying. Scarlett said, were there any areas that talked about the moonshiners? No, not that I didn't come across anything that talked about that, but I'm sure there was some of that going on. Conduit says the world needs more lore masters like you, bro, to Tyrone.
Appreciate that.
Glasstron says, hold on a second. Listen to it. I think he's talking about that picture. The most important thing, significant thing you can do in life is die. I don't know. Is that what you were talking about, bro? And yeah, that was fun. So like Saturday, I just got bored, and I hadn't been over there in a while. So I ran over to Fort Mountain State Park and got that for you guys. Did a little PowerPoint and whatnot, background research. And Tyrone and I have been planning this. I kind of came up with that idea about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And I was like, hey, and Tyrone's been scheduled to come on the show this week for a while because Mike is off for school. And so we were just going to do some regular shit, but then it was like, you know what, let's go boots on ground. And I knew Tyrone would be up for it. He's always up for shit like that. So we did, and we're planning on doing more. So if anyone's in the chat, or if you hear of any sites in like North Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, in the area that like might be drivable distance for Tyrone and I, let us know. We're planning on doing Moundville, Alabama. I guess we're going to try to go back and see if we can find that third effigy mound. But there's a bunch of stuff here. Like there's some petroglyphs that are about an hour from me. I don't think it'd be worth Tyrone coming out to see, so I'll probably go check them out myself. But
no, I want to go to that too because I know about those places too. It's funny you bring that up because you know who V Duo is, right?
is it an Asian girl? Yeah, she's
Yeah.
coming on the show actually. But yeah.
Yeah, I did a podcast with her about Shang Dynasty, and she has a lot of good information in there. Of course, she's missing some, or she probably got some now that since then. I did it like 2 or 3 years ago. I was telling her that there's some petroglyphs out there in Georgia, some of the stuff that she talked about, and she actually didn't like that. Honestly, she didn't like that I was out there. She said they're not totally identical, but I had this book from it's called the Sumerian and Chinese writing system. It's off of both of their writing systems, and a lot of people, it's a forgotten, lost book out there, I guess, that they found and republished and stuff like that. But the Shang Dynasty and the Sumerians, their writing system was almost very, very close. So, she didn't know about that, of course, and maybe she did some research from since then. But she has a lot of good information out there, and a lot of people don't know about that book. That I actually found that book 3 weeks or a month before I had my discussion with her. I was looking, for similarities between the writing systems and stuff like that. And they're big on pictographic script or petroglyphs because they have somewhere on that side of where she lives at. She did a whole podcast on my show with them. She used to have it on her YouTube channel. So maybe possibly the information I have now is outdated because of the simple fact that I haven't talked to her since then, of course. But I know that it might be outdated because of the simple fact she took the videos down from her YouTube channel too. Like she used to have it on hers. And,
why did she take it down?
Yeah, she that's what I don't know.
Maybe she had the wrong information or something.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I'm not making no assumptions. That's the only reason why I would, what I'm saying? I would take it down there, or I would leave it up and make sure I do another one that says, hey, updated information next to it and stuff like that. Make sure I have it tagged. But there's no, or at least the last time that I see, because I still follow her on YouTube and I watch some of the videos and stuff.
She had a new one.
I watch everybody's.
It's like 2 hours long. I haven't watched it yet, but she has a new one. Vi Duo, guys. She really does her research. She's a fierce gal though. Like she don't play. Like so she'll like to defend her positions. But what she's planning on talking to us about is these. I forget what she calls them, but those plasma things that Dr. Robert Schoch always talks about. I'm going to find a picture. The plasma petroglyphs. But that's what these things show up all over the place. And I really do not want to bro science any of this. But homeboy, what's his name? Laird Scranton talks about this as well. And these petroglyphs kind of look like that, FYI. These things, she's coming on to talk about these things.
And what's so funny? That's the one that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so she did do more research on it, like I told her to then, because this is exactly
she's doing research
that I told
about
her
it right now. That's why she's waiting.
That's
like
good.
A month.
And I told her that, and I tell you why.
Until she finishes.
Because it used to be this and another one that was right next to it, and because she considers these humans, these are what considered humans, right? Or at least that's what she says, or a person or something like that, right? And I told her that, and I wish I had the book in front of me. If I'd known you'd have brought this up, I would have did it. But there's in these books that I have that has the correlations between the Sumerian and Chinese writing system, the Shang Dynasty in particular. That I got you. Is that is the same exact thing? So that is good because a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, when I tell them, you know, that the pictographic scripts are important, I say it's important because of the simple fact that a picture can be 1,000 words, right? You can have 1,000 words of that description and stuff. So yeah, that's good that she did it, because she finally took me up on my suggestion then, because that's good, because you know, I definitely brought that up, and I'm so glad that I know that now, because I told her about this a while ago. And there's a lot, you can actually find a lot of this stuff in the Aboriginal Australians too. You can find it with the Aboriginal Australians and with, I think they, if I'm not mistaken, at one of the tepes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a Gobekli Tepe or the other
There's
one.
a bunch of them. There's like 40 now, but the main ones are
Yeah.
Karahan Tepe and Gobekli Tepe. I'm trying to find the. I got Robert Schoch's Forgotten Civilization here. I'm trying to find the because he shows that these things look like plasma discharges, and so he says they're drawings of plasma discharges from like a massive coronal mass ejection that created and that's what a plasma discharge would look like after it like basically melted through the atmosphere. But I'm going to try to find a different picture because it's really interesting to see the correlation. Petroglyphs. And that's a great book, by the way. Forgotten Civilization, New Discoveries on the Solar-Induced Ice Age. Yeah. So that's plasma on the top left there. And that's a...
Yeah, Larry Scranton talks about it because of the Dogon tribe.
The Dogons do it. You can find it in Arizona, Armenia, Guana.
That's what I keep telling people. Everybody needs to go back. Okay, I always talk about the Sumerians. I always talk about the Sumerians because academically, and you asked me this question, academically, that is what is considered the first civilization. But the Dogon tribe, their history, culture, and even their haplogroup goes back further than the Sumerians and the Egyptians. Now, it's also known, and I asked Larry Scranton this also, the Dogon people used to inhabit the land of Egypt, also known as Kemet, before the Egyptians did, or even before, you know, the Greeks did, and all these other people. They were the first ones to inhabit that land first. Then when the Islamic Revolution started happening and they had to move away, they moved further south. You can find the relationship between the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Mesopotamian individuals, literally from their writing style, their depictions, their mythologies are almost similar. I hate when people say identical. They're very similar. They're not identical. And their knowledge is about the same. And this is what's interesting to me, is that I always tell people, and I know a lot of people hate this because of the simple fact they call it, and I hate talking about it because it always causes issues with some people, but people hate Afrocentric ideas. What people don't realize is that all those Afrocentric ideas came from a European man from the 1800s, these European men who went around searching for these locations and wrote them in their books. Even before that, you got people like Herodotus and Plato saying they got some of their information from, you know, Egypt and so forth. But then the question is who inhabited the land before Egypt? Well, modern science would be able to tell us that, right? With DNA and so on and so forth. So the Dogon tribe, they may be the bread and butter to everything that we're wondering because of their history.
They are, dude.
And I mean that seriously. No, and I mean that seriously, to the point that it's almost like, you know, because like I said, I've already talked to Larry Scranton too.
They're the connection. The Dogon are the connection between their knowledge base is the connection between Atlantis, or whatever you want to call the pre-Younger Dryas civilization, and the information they had, and everything else. I'm positive there's a connection directly to Sumeria, directly all the way through the history of our present set of civilization, like our present iteration of civilization. The Dogon knew everything that we know now, almost in mythological form, like way before everyone else did. Way. So I'm sold on
Yeah.
the Dogon, and I don't care if people think that's Afrocentric or whatever. It's just plain and simple.
No, they do, bro.
It's fact. And if you
They
listen
do.
to Laird Scranton, and if you listen to, and if you read his books, you will know. And just go watch his episode on. You did an episode with him. I did an episode with him. Go watch that. And yes, Syrian cosmology, correct. They had cosmology. They knew about quantum physics, so
their mathematics was
yes,
superb, like one of the best
correct.
out there.
And it's all like oral tradition and built into oral tradition and mythology. That's the crazy part. And that's when you think about that, when you realize that you can build in complex cosmology and mathematics and archaeoastronomy and quantum physics into a mythological language, like oral language. That's insane, man. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why. But see, I like to put it like this: if we were in a situation where we had to remember our best friend's phone number, in the past, we will remember it with an instance. 10 best friends, 15 best friends, you can remember their phone numbers easily. How many of your friends do you know of their phone numbers right now?
I still remember my very first one ever, 902-835-1637. I can remember a bunch, 246666523. I can remember a bunch, but like after 2007, it's hard to remember any.
Okay, so that's my point. So if you think about it, in reality, we use devices to remember that, right? Because we're not using our brain to remember those numbers. We're not going over there and always, sending messages or talking or typing the number in all the time. It's a push of a button for us. Call friend A, call friend B, call mom, dad, brother, sister.
I literally
right?
talk to my car, right, and tell my car to do everything.
Yeah, so you don't have to remember everything, but these mythologies, they remembered it by heart. Still, in certain religious sects, you have to remember the whole Bible. I know if you're certain Islamic traditions, you have to learn the whole Quran by a certain age. Back in the day, people used to have to remember the Christian Bible, whichever one they chose as their source, I guess, because there's different ones. They used to have to memorize it. Not anymore today. They don't. And that's why I say, there's a lot of rightfully anger out there about history, about people hiding, denying, and taking away history. But use some of that and half of that energy to at least go and venture out and see what you do have available now. And that's why I say go to these local places as of today. I guarantee you not too many people that live around that area goes there. Right? They might have went there once when they was a child and probably ain't went for 20 years because everybody's got to go there at least one time to say, oh yeah, I've been there. But how many times have you really went there to go there, not just to say you went there? And what I mean to go there, I mean to actually experience it, because I actually experienced it. I was listening to the sounds. I had showed up at least like 15, 20 minutes earlier. And I was listening, looking around, taking pictures. Remember when we was walking through there, we thought it was raining. We did. Because the trees was,
but
knocking
it
off
did
the
look.
water
it was literally
off
raining
the
in that
leaves.
one spot from those trees. It was. I mean, it wasn't literally raining, but like it was. There was it sounded like rain, and it was like it was enough to get wet. If you were standing there, you would have got wet.
Now, I don't think it rained the day before, but I think the humidity gets really high up there in the water.
Do you think it was our resonance, like us talking and walking around and stuff, that's what shook that enough to make it fall off? Because it was a blue sky morning, dude. It didn't rain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was nothing going on.
And then all of a sudden we're walking there, and right in that one spot, that one tree literally started raining by itself. And it was a lot of water too. Like a lot.
Yeah, it was actually pouring. It was like, what the hell is it raining?
Said, is it raining?
But see, Yeah. So that, and that we could create a mythology out of that, a myth out of that, and it would be real. We was walking and it started raining and there was no clouds in the sky.
Well,
how would that sound?
Well, you have to find a way to explain that. And they usually use myths and stuff, right? But the thing about the Dogon is that like they had the myth, and in the myth was complex mathematics. Know what I'm saying? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and that's why I said all this stuff is interesting to me, and that's why I think people like me and you and everybody that's going out there. I know Shaman does it. I know Jordan Crowder does it. They go out there and film their interactions, because think about it, we're losing real life interactions with this stuff. Everybody's going to AI videos. Everybody's going to an AI video to make their stuff. They're not seeing the authentic stuff that's going on, and that's why I'm going and presenting all my stuff that way on my Rumble, because I feel like I think people are really interested in that. Just have it talk over, lay over. Like I said, I've been to some places, and I'm going to go, and I'm doing this every week. I'm going somewhere new. So every time I have enough money to put in the gas in the truck to go somewhere, as long as I have enough for that, I'm headed to these different places. Idea. I'm going to make these videos and head to them.
I think that's it. I mean, it's more fun than just reading books is fun. Watching documentaries is fun. But you do got to get boots on the ground. I wanted to give a shout out to a handful of, I didn't grok anything. I wanted to so bad. Okay. But I didn't. But I tried to get the information I got for some of this stuff from like people's blogs and stuff like that, instead of like some just regular sources. So there's this Strange Carolinas, Weekend Wanderlust, Blogspot. Check that out.
And you should write those people and give them your experience.
I will. Yeah. I mean, I like connecting with people, and with this lady, How and Wise, she makes a bunch of different like blog content. And then I don't know if I showed this one, but Splash Travels, shout them out as well. And yeah, we don't know. I don't know exactly what's next up for me. I might literally drive to that, this, because I meant to come first full circle to this, drive back to, or drive an hour. It's an hour away for me to go check out this petroglyph thing. Here's what I heard though. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Some J off, like, spray painted here. Okay. And then so when I looked it up online, it said it was closed. I don't know what that means, if they had to cover it up or what. But if they did, like that kind of shit, like that's where like preservation is so important, because there are some dumb people out there right now with
that's
cars,
what I'm saying.
And like money to get into these sites and things like that. And so if you ever see somebody doing some shit like this, like it's not even a federal offense. It's like, this is an offense on humanity if you spray paint your nonsense onto this. Okay. I just have to say that because I really feel strongly about it. But I'll move on from that and say that I do see some possible plasma type looking ones that we were talking about before. Also, the one on the left almost does look like a turtle, but no one really knows what these are. I didn't have to do a whole bunch of research on them. My plan is to do that and come back and put it on the show in the future. But these are interesting, and this kind of stuff is all over the United States if you look for it. But yeah. I wanted to also mention I wanted to ask, where did he go? He says, can't even remember my pager's number. So were you a businessman, a drug dealer, or both? Because I don't know no one in the 90s who had a pager, or a doctor. Maybe you were a doctor, but most people didn't have a pager. He says, makes me believe less of what I see on top of less of what I hear. Yeah, I totally agree. I just want to get these out, and then I'll let you talk here. Vandalism pisses me off. Yeah, me fucking too. And Petroglyph Reserve reporting for duty. Yeah. I did go to Petroglyph, like, National Monument or something in in New Mexico. I'll have to get. I got pictures. I'm gonna go back and get them pictures. But what were you gonna say, Tyrone?
I was just going to say, from that vandalism comment, this is why it's very important for me, for people who really want to preserve history, don't go attacking. Because when you go attacking, somebody's going to get defensive, and their defense may be stronger than your attack. And then, we lose all grounds on what we want. And, the happy medium on this is just talking to people. Now, I'm going to start, when I go to these places, probably talk to some of the people who work there to see what myths they've heard. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm going to all these.
Always do that.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. You learn something new every time. So that's why on my Rumble account is my documentary or whatever I'm showing. It's not going to be like a full 45-minute documentary of talking about something. It's going to be a quick video of what I've shared, and that's it. Whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes to an hour, it just depends on how much material I got. Because even at Rock Eagle Mound, you can't make an hour. You can make an hour video or documentary on that place, but me and you being there, we both can tell each other that's not worth an hour documentary, right? You're filling in stuff with bluff, right? Like you could talk about the history and stuff like that, add to that, but in reality after that, there's really nothing that you can do. So I want to keep it simple and short, you know what I'm saying, for people to grab their attention. And this might convince some people to say, oh, maybe I should go there. I might be over there 30 minutes away, because our trip was 30 minutes. We had to travel from where we came from our houses. And then you found this one, which I'm very glad that you found and we went to, because we got to knock out both of them, right? If there was a third one, we would have went to the third one. But, we got to knock out both of them, So, the history that we have now is as loud as everybody wants to be about how much they're taking away from us. Be as loud as what we have right now, so other people can go and see it, and then they can fight for, hey, I want to know more. Why are you covering this up?
Yeah, it's just about spreading the word, man, and making this stuff known, because it's hard. We're not even aware of everything that's around us, right? We just find them places now. And so for people to be able to go online, I love going on somebody's random channel and being like, learning about some in their local area and be like, I didn't even know that was there. Like there's so much neat stuff all around. So, and he said, yes, he was a doctor. Thank you. Thanks, Doc. I'm now wondering what kind of doctor, but yeah, man. Next up for me is probably go there. Where are you going next, Tyrone? We're gonna start wrapping her up.
Well, I'm going to start. So go to my Rumble account now, Rebirth of the Word. There's no videos on there. I took all my old videos off of there because this, like I said, I'm going to make this one. It was basically videos from my YouTube on there too. But I'm going to start loading up like this video right here. I'm going to start loading up the videos that I did of it. This one will probably be my first one, maybe. I don't know yet. One of the places I've already been to, but somewhere I haven't been to yet, I don't know, because I want to go to St. Augustine now too. A lot of people have been talking about that, so I have to drive down there. I want to leave. I'll probably have to leave here early in the morning to get down there. I don't know.
Let's get Shaman 711 Jason on X to go to Moundville with us. Moundville, Alabama. It's a park and a town. We could rent a cabin. I'll bring get Mike to come. I'll bring my my telescope, and we'll do some stargazing because the campsite's like amongst the mounds, right? There's a couple other mounds sites that I've been to in the area that like Mike and I have went to, and we talked about them in early episodes of the show. But there's so much. When I talked to Greg Little, I was like naive, and I was like, I'm gonna go to every mound site in Georgia, and he like literally laughed at me, and he's like, that's cute, right? Because he's got a whole damn encyclopedia, and there's hundreds of thousands. Yeah, let's keep on keeping on, Tyrone. We got an episode dropping with tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, Aaron, Megalithic Mysteries. On Monday, we've got a Monday episode dropping with Randy from his channel's called Boomerosity. But we like to switch it up once in a while, and this was a cool one because he's interviewed and seen in concert some of like the biggest musicians in rock and roll and blues from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that you could think of. And they're all on his YouTube channel and on his website. And he's just got this wealth of knowledge of the history of blues and rock and roll and how they kind of are kind of cut from the same cloth, and very interesting guy. And his episode drops on Monday. Next Friday, we have Michael Button. His YouTube channel is popping right now. He's also going to be at the at that event that I'm going to share again right now. Michael Button is going to be one of the speakers at Quest for Ancient Civilizations in Scottsdale, Arizona, December 5th to the 7th. And his episode's really interesting because he doesn't just talk about ancient history. He talks about sort of his strategy into making a YouTube channel and, and the process and how much work it takes. And but he also talks, we ask him about all the good stuff going on in the world of ancient history. So check that one out. Also, I've got Jeff up north, who's got a channel from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. He's coming on next Thursday for the live stream to talk about some Michigan copper, which is like some way more interesting than it might sound when I say Michigan copper. There's all kinds of links to transatlantic trade of Michigan copper in Europe. What? And ancient trade. And so just interesting stuff. So much interesting stuff to learn. Please like and subscribe. Please share. Means a lot to me. We just got monetized, and I felt very grateful for that because I put in a lot of work. Mike's put in a lot of work. Brittany's put in a lot of work. Lots of friends of ours have been on the show. Tyrone's been on the show 6 or 7 times now. But I felt very grateful for everyone who watches our show and likes it and shares it. Every watch hour counts on this stuff. And I'm not even trying to make money. I just want to pay for how much it costs to do this, which is without even driving to a site or flying to a conference or anything like that. We do pay to, set up subscriptions and stuff like that and to make this work. And it's put in a lot of time and effort, which I just really enjoy anyway. But I'm rambling. I'm just really grateful for everyone who watched because now we can get super chats. And I swear to God, a dude gave me a $99 super chat today. I was like, what the fuck? But I almost said, no, please, no, thank you. Just give me $1. But he's been watching our show for a really long time. And we really appreciate Mr. Jim Fry from Habitat for Rockhounds. Check out his YouTube channel. It's very cool. You can support our show by super chatting, by checking out the links in our description. Via Hemp and Galaxy Treats are both hemp products you can have shipped anywhere in the country. You can get 10% off by using our links. You can do the book of the month, which this month is Astral Experiences by our good friend Jason Quitt, who's been on the show twice as well. We met him at Contact in the Desert. And yeah, let's support our friends. Let's support Tyrone. If you're not subscribed to Tyrone's YouTube channel, Rebirth of the Word, please do. Yeah, man, that was a fun one. I enjoyed that. Let's do that more often, Tyrone.
Yeah, we definitely are. I was just looking at places to go. There's a lot of different places. So yeah, we're definitely gonna make
all
that
right.
work.
We got, I just want to say Mukonduit, peace out. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, man. Glasstron, glad I caught this. Subscribed. Thank you. Please subscribe to Rebirth as well for similar content. Scarlett, as usual, thank you for joining the chat. Sometimes I feel like there was this show when I was a kid, like I forget what it was called, but like at the end, the lady would be like, I see Billy and I see Jimmy to the TV. And you were like, someday she'd be like, I see David. And I'd be like, yeah. But I kind of feel like that sometimes. But I just really appreciate everybody. Little Vibe, Chris Cottrell, our good friend, Cosmic Summit and YouTube channel, Dabbler's Den, Guru App Craig. I don't know how to say some of these people's names, but thank you for joining. I think I got everyone. Shaman 711, Rubate, Tammy K. Thank you, Rubate, for the donation. Tammy, thank you so much for being here. Pat Breeze was here earlier and today. For those of you who put up with me twice today, I love you. Good night from the multiverse, and we will see you next time. Stay tuned for more Tyrone. He'll be back.